Hey, do you have one of these Harbor Freight 4.5-inch angle grinders? If your spindle lock hasn't broken yet, you're lucky. If it has broken, I'll show you how to fix it. If it's not broken, I'll give you a recommendation how to make sure it doesn't break. Hang on. Hey guys, want to do a quick video on this 4.5-inch angle grinder by Harbor Freight. It's made by Chicago Electric, and this particular one is part number 91223. Buddy of mine had this for not very long, and he kept swearing about it and said he was going to throw it away and go buy something, $50-60, which is good, I guess. I said, well, what's wrong with it? And he explained that the button that goes in this little area here that you use to lock the blade down so that you can tighten the blade basically was all messed up. I said, okay, well, I've just bought a new welder, and it's always been recommended to have a couple of these type of devices around, one with a wire brush on it and one with a cutoff wheel. So I said maybe I'll figure out how to lock it down one time just to get maybe a wire brush on this one. And anyway, brought it home and kind of took it apart. These 4 little bolts basically will take this chuck apart, and everything here looks fine. There you can see those 3 little holes right here are where that pin drops down in and basically stops this from spinning. That allows you to tighten or loosen whatever device you're going to put on the end of it. There's no wear or tear here, so that all looks pretty good. But I'll tell you what I found after taking this apart and looking down in here. I actually got the button off. The button is it's spring loaded on the back side. This little pin here is what goes into the small chuck area to stop the blade from spinning, and then here's a capture C-clamp that clips on right here near the end and just keeps this button in place. I think the whole issue of the whole button is this spring that's here is not tight enough, or doesn't provide enough pressure to back this pin away from the spinning chuck. And when the chuck spins, basically what happens is you get blowout. This little area right here, there was a piece of a pot metal that broke off and went that direction, and same thing on this side, broke off and went this direction. It was sitting down in there. So this whole casting now is basically broken. What I'm going to do, again, I don't see any bad metal shavings here. I'm going to clean out all this grease, and then I'm going to go back down in there, and I'm going to JB weld that shut where that buttonhole was, and then I'll try possibly to drill a hole back through that JB weld just so I can get like a screwdriver down there. Again, occasionally I'll need to change the blade on this, but for most partly not. So the purpose of the video is not to show you really what I'm going to do to fix mine, although I'll show you if that works. But the most important thing is what I would recommend if you go and buy these. They were giving these things away like $5. They have coupons sometimes. These are for like $5 with any purchase. What I recommend you do, and again, it's just these 4 bolts that all it takes to get this chuck piece out, and then you're gonna take this pin off the button. I would put a heavier spring. I would make that spring right there go somewhere, and look at there. And I would replace that spring, because you need to make sure when you haven't depressed this down to lock the thing, you want to make sure this thing is in its fully disengaged position as you can to get it away from that spinning chuck. Because if it grabs any one of those holes right there, it's going to tear out either one of those sides. So it would take you literally 10 minutes to disassemble this, take that pin out, and put a heavier spring in there, and then reassemble it. And I think it'll last you a lot longer. Let's see what happens when I get that all cleaned up. Okay, now they got that all cleaned out with the grease. You can see here where this wall, there's a piece I found down in here that represented that piece that broke off, and the same thing for this other side. So now my intention with the JB weld is not to create what they have. It's not going to be, I'm not trying to get something that's super strong. I'm just trying to get something realistically to cover that hole, because again, that grease gets warm, it gets a little more fluid. I don't want to lose grease out of the back side of that. So I'm going to narrow that hole down to a smaller hole, and then create something I can to basically stick a screwdriver down in to stop it, so I can change blades. Let's see how the JB weld looks. Okay, I started off with putting some tape just covering this hole. I'm going to do the inside first, then we're going to do the outside. And one of the keys is I want to make sure I don't want to see the JB Weld to hit any of the moving parts. So this surface right here and right there, I will not go above those two surfaces. I want to just expand it out on either side, and then we'll take the tape off once it starts getting a little bit firm, and then I'll do on the back side as well. I got me some made up. Trying to create a plug. There's that surface. Let's clean this off. Alright, I'm going to let that set up, and then we'll pull the tape on the other side, we'll do the other side, and I may come back and add a little bit more here. Okay, it's been about 2 hours, and according to the JB Weld, I'm using JB Weld steel, that it takes 4 to 6 hours to cure. Sets up in 4 to 6 hours, let it set overnight before putting object to use. But it also talks about above 40 degrees. It's pretty cold here in my shop. And so anyway, I let it go 2 hours, and I was able to test based on our board here that it's getting thicker, and it's still a little bit pliable, and that's key, because I don't want it to be totally hard, because again I'm going to put some more on the back side, and I want there to be a chemical bond. I want these two layers to actually bond to each other. So I want this one to stay a little bit wet while I do that, but at least it's stiff enough now I can take out that take off the tape that I put on there. And I did want to make a point that before putting that layer of JB Weld on, I did use, after I got the grease out, I did use some brake parts cleaner and rub that off real good with a cloth to clean that. But now I think I'm ready to take off this tape, and then my idea would be, okay, yep. So still a little bit pliable there. We didn't penetrate that. So now I want to sand this. I don't have a mechanical sander tight enough, but I'm going to use a sandpaper. So let me get that sanded down, and then I'll let you see. Okay, I was able to sand that inner surface. I'm gonna fill up most of this buttonhole space with some more JB Weld. I got that sanded down, so now I have a mechanical tooth for that to adhere to. Plus, I want it to chemically adhere to the existing JB Weld. And just to keep it a little bit clean, I'm going to put that on it. Between that and another little piece right here, Alright, so now I'm going to mix up some JB Weld. We're going to fill that as, maybe put 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch down in there, and then we'll sand that back smooth and make that look a little better. So let me mix up some more JB Weld. Alright, let's see if we can get that area filled in. Make sure you get it down there touching. Alright, I think I want a little bit more. I'm going to go ahead and mix up some more to continue to fill that in. Plus I'm going to add a little bit more to the inside. I really want to fill, I want to be able to strengthen this area right in here and right in here. So I'll fillet that in as well as lift it up a little bit just to give this more strength. And even, I did scrape off, I'm not above these 2 points here that I mentioned earlier. I want to make sure I stay below that so that the spinning piece doesn't have anything that's going to hit. So we mix up a little bit more. Okay, that's good for that side. Perfect. Okay, we'll let that go. Again, every bit of everything I put in is below that little surface right there and that surface there, which is, as long as I'm below that, it won't hit that spinning piece. So that's going to give that a good stiffened piece. Then we got this. Oop, look, we're a little bit loose, so we need to that stuff will just self-level, really. That'll be awesome. So I'm going to let this sit just like this to self-level that. I'll check the bottom side. I might have to grind off some on that. But that'll be good. Let's let that sit for several hours. You know what? I just sitting there thinking about it. What I might do, what I'm going to do, make sure that this doesn't flow like it did before. I'm going to go ahead and put a tape on the outside of that. That'll make that stay like it is, and then I want this thing to really dry like this. Okay, it is now the next day. This is hardened overnight, and it is very hard. The only thing I have left to really mark where this hole needs to go so that it lines back up with the pins is the remnants of where the old sleeve used to be. So I'm going to go right in the center. In here, I'm going to make a drawing where I'm actually going to drill my hole from this side. But first, let's also see what this looks like. Remember, we dam this up. There's that. Okay, I'm going to take just a little die grinder and sand that all down. But before I do that, I'm really pleased with that. It's just flush. I'll smooth that out a little bit. Maybe I'll throw a little paint on it, make it look a little better. But I am going to let this cure another day. I don't have any urgent need for this tool yet. Not in a rush. I'm going to let that harden. I'll probably flatten that surface right in there a little bit. I'll do a little center punch, make sure I feel I'm in the center of that. And then let's talk about kind of what the plan moving forward is. Again, once this is facing down in this unit, here's the original plug. It had that little bitty flat pin, and that pin would go down into this piece and basically lock it up so that this wouldn't spin, so therefore you can put your blade on there. Now without that, ultimately, once I drill my hole back in that case, I need something else that's flat. I can't use this anymore. What really won't work is taking in the new hole and taking a screwdriver and put it in there. I don't want, this chamfered edge, because that's not going to hold very well. But what I'm thinking is, I got plenty of every time you buy something, they give you these Allen wrenches. I got tons of these that really just don't match up to anything anymore. This would be a perfect thing to drop down into that hole, and it could create the lock. So the hole that I drill back through that JB weld will be something that this would slide down in. And as long as I get that hole in the relationship that it'll intersect this, then that'll work. So that's going to be the ultimate plan, is to drill that hole about this size. Make sure we try and get it to the right distance, and I can do that just by centering it back into this space again. And the worst case is, if it doesn't line up, I can make the hole. I'll continue to make it a little bit bigger until again we can get down into that, but I'm pretty sure I can hit that pretty easily. And then we will, after we get that hole drilled, we will pack this back with grease, reinstall it all, and should be good to go. Okay, I was able to sand down the JB weld, and I went ahead and sanded down the rest of the surface and masked it off. I'm going to paint this whole neck out here with some hammered gray paint. Now I'm not expecting some bodywork perfect finish on this. I mean, this is JB Weld by the way, not any kind of Bondo. So I'm just trying to make it look a little better. Before I paint it, I'm going to drill the hole, because I'd like to make sure I want to let some of the paint get down in the hole, just to make it look a little better. But so again, I'm going to center punch this, and then the key to drilling the hole is I really would like when the Allen wrench is inserted into that sleeve hole, I want it to be perpendicular to this gear. and the gear will be basically parallel to this surface here. So I want to make sure my hole is perpendicular to this surface. So I'll end up just holding, I'll brace this thing, but I'll hold it at an angle because it typically sits back a little bit like that. So I'm going to have to raise it up and again drill perpendicular to that surface there. That'll just help the Allen wrench do its job a little better. Let's see if we can get that going. Okay, I've got this surface here parallel to the tabletop, and I've got a center punch drilled in there, punched in there. And this drill bit is just bigger than that Allen wrench, and so I'm going to just go real slowly and punch a hole in it. Okay, so we got a nice hole through there, and it didn't do any tear out here. I'm going to flare that a little bit, and then I'll be ready for paint. I'm going to have to flush this out very good with some brake cleaner. Get all that dust out of there before I put in the grease. Alright, I got that all painted up. It's it's Rust-Oleum hammered finish. Just did kind of this outside. I didn't want to get down in these little gaps. But and then I've also cleaned out this side. I sprayed it and used Q-tips to get all that debris out and all the excess grease. And then I want to dry fit this just to make sure what we've got going on is. So I put that in there dry fit. I take this Allen wrench that we're talking about. I slip it in this hole and then rotate this. There, it clicks, and that now locks it up. I'll be able to put that in there, put my blade on, and tighten this up. So that's going to work perfectly. Now I'm going to add some grease, wheel bearing grease to this, grease it up, and get it all buttoned back up. We'll see how it works. Alright, I got it loaded up with grease. I use this multi-service lubricant grease, something I've had around the house for a while. And I got it packed deep enough where this gear will engage that grease and help spread it around. Let me show you how this thing goes back together. And this assembly is the exact same, basically. It's just put it together in these 4 bolts. Alright, after those bolts, this shield goes on. And the final adjustment on that, this is the piece we're not going to put back in. And then comes this piece. The blade. See if it works. Man, that is perfect. The only other piece I'm missing is the little handle. And there you go. All fixed. It's going to work out good. You know, that fix was so easy, makes me feel a little bit guilty about taking this from my friend. So when I see him next, I'm going to actually offer it back to him, see if he'd like to have it back. Be pretty nice little machine, I guess.